Howdy, hi. This is Do Your Job Sports College Football Week 9 picks and predictions. Let's get into the video. All right, first things first, we're going to recap the previous week's results. Not the best of weeks. We go 8 and 11. So I'm going to talk about what we did here, and then we'll get on to Week 9 picks. So our winners, we had South Alabama minus 11.5 versus Troy. LA Tech at New Mexico State over 50.5. Duke minus 3 versus Florida State. Indiana minus 5.5 versus Nebraska. Miami minus 4 at Louisville. Colorado plus 3.5 at Arizona. Western Michigan minus 1.5 at Buffalo. And then K State minus 2.5 versus West Virginia. Our losers, LA Tech minus 10.5 at New Mexico State. They lose the game outright. Sam Houston minus 2.5 versus Western Kentucky. They also lose the game outright after losing their starting quarterback. Texas minus 3.5 versus Georgia. They played horrible in the first half of football, so can't really come back from that. Iowa State minus 13 versus UCF. They should have lost the game outright. They got very lucky to win this football game. BYU minus Oklahoma State, or minus 8.5 versus Oklahoma State. They also got lucky to win this football game. Ohio plus 4 at Miami of Ohio. They lost by 10. Purdue plus 27 versus Oregon. I think they lost 35-0. Their offense just couldn't do anything. It was actually disgusting to watch. With the under 42.5 in the Kentucky-Florida game, I think there was close to 80 points scored in that game. There is no words for what happened in that game. Arizona State plus 3 at Cincinnati. That one was a massive loser. Rutgers minus 6.5 at home to UCLA. They lose outright. Houston plus 6.5 at Kansas. I think they lost the game by 30. So the games we lost, at least they were not close. I literally think only one of these stood a chance at winning. That is how bad the losers were. The winners, we had some good ones. Obviously, Indiana was good. K-State was good. Colorado was the freest money you could have bet on. Miami was good, just a little bit of a sweat. South Alabama winner. The over in the New Mexico State game was lucky because it only hit because it went to overtime. So there were some good bets. There were some bad bets. Hopefully we bounce back next week and we can pick more winners. All right, let's get into the picks. First game we're looking at, I actually think it's later in the day. It is Boise State, UNLV. You got the two powerhouses in the Mountain West. This should be a really good game. Probably the most important game for these teams so far. Maybe Boise State, the Oregon game, was more important, but they lost that one, so it really doesn't matter. Both of these teams, one loss. Boise's comes in Oregon by 3 points. UNLV comes at home to Syracuse, I think also by 3 points. That game was in overtime. Boise State ranked fourth in offense, averaging 527 yards a game. UNLV, obviously also a good offensive team, 43rd, averaging 150 yards a game. That should be 450, not 150. I'm tripping. The defense, similar as well. They're giving up 414 and 403 yards a game. I'm going to give the edge to Boise State here. They're coming off of a bye week, so you're going to give me JT coming off of a bye week. That man probably gained 10 pounds of muscle just in the gym. He's a beast. And they have the favorite Heisman in the backfield, obviously. UNLV coming off of a short travel week. So the previous game, UNLV was on the East Coast. They now have to come back home and play on 6 days of rest in a primetime Friday night spot. So this one's going to be tough for them. I do not think they're going to be able to get it done. So I'm going to take Boise State minus 3. Next one, Rutgers and USC. This one also a Friday night spot. So both of these teams, well, USC not as much, but both these teams were on the East Coast in the previous game. And I'm going to rock Rutgers plus 14. USC is awful. They are horrible. I think I'm going to fade them for the rest of the season. They're not well coached. Lincoln Riley was the truth 10 years ago, or however long ago, when he was actually good. He's horrible now. None of his players actually play for him. It's not like I enjoy betting Rutgers, especially because I just took them and lost with them as they lost at home to UCLA. But this is it's too many points for USC. They've lost 3 straight games. They've lost 4 out of their last 5. Lincoln Riley has completely lost this team. You can tell when you watch. They're not playing for Lincoln Riley. They're playing for the money. They're playing to get exposure to NFL. No one actually cares to win on this football team. No one's good on this football team. They suck. Now, in terms of stats, obviously USC has the better offense and defense, but again, I just don't think that matters. USC's done. They quit for the year. Rutgers still has a little bit to play for. They're 4-3 as opposed to the 3-4 for USC. If I'm on USC right now, I don't care about a bowl game. I don't care if we win versus Rutgers. Our season is over. At one point, we were ranked top 25. Now we're 3-4. We just lose to every single Big Ten team we play. So I'm going to take Rutgers with the points in this one. Next game we're looking at, it is Notre Dame headed to Navy. I'm going to take Navy plus 13.5. This should be one of the best games of the week. I think Notre Dame, really not that good of a team. I think they're very overrated. Navy dominates time of possession. Riley will not be able to do anything with his legs here. Navy, they've seen this quarterback or this style of quarterback play a lot, playing against other service academies who have plenty of triple option game. So a mobile Leonard is not going to do anything to scare them. They're going to be able to maintain what he's got going on. Now, Notre Dame is going to have some troubles stopping this Navy run game. Navy are 7th in the country in rushing yards per game at 275. And surprisingly, they're actually throwing the ball this year, averaging 160 passing yards a game. I didn't think that was possible for Navy. I didn't think they touched the land. They just constantly stay in the water. They don't want to throw it through the air. We leave that to somebody else. So I'm surprised they're throwing the ball. I give them props for throwing the ball. They are ranked. The fact that they are ranked and at home playing another ranked team, this stadium's going to be bumping. It is going to be electric. I don't know if game day's there, but that would be dope if it was. But either way, game day, no game day, who cares? Navy plus 13.5. I think they win this game outright. Fuck Notre Dame. Fuck everything they stand for. Give me Navy. Let's get it going. Now, we are going to go back to the cash cow. We have been rocking Indiana for almost every single game this season, and they keep on giving us free money. It is Washington at Indiana. This line has come down. When I first typed it in, because at the beginning of each video, I type in every single spread, then I type out all the information as to why I like the game, and then right before I post the video, I look again to make sure the spread is accurate. I had Indiana minus 7.5 an hour and a half ago. They're already down a whole point. How are people betting on Washington? Did they not just watch Indiana beat Nebraska by 49 points? Like, come on now. That don't make no sense. In my opinion, Indiana, one of the top 4 teams in the Big Ten. Obviously, I'd probably put them 4th. You have to put Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State 1, 2, and 3. You can't really debate anything there. Indiana hasn't played the level of teams that they have. But still, if you are able to beat Nebraska 56-7 at home, it shows you're built a little bit different. Now, every single aspect of Indiana this year is good. Offense ranked 6th in the country, averaging 520 yards a game. Their defense ranked 20th, only allowing 283 yards a game. We've been betting Indiana for a while, so I ain't stopping now. The only thing to watch is their quarterback left the game at halftime, or I think maybe midway through the third quarter. He went to throw the ball, hit his hand on I think either his own teammate's helmet or the defensive lineman's helmet, and it fucked up one of his fingers. So keep an eye on that. Definitely keep an eye on that, because if Rourke isn't playing, maybe don't want to touch this game. But I think we play. So I'm still rocking Indiana minus 6.5. Washington sucks. They're coming off they lost to Iowa by 24 points. How are you losing to Iowa by 24 points? It's Iowa. They don't know what the end zone is. They can't score ever. It takes legitimate skill to lose to Iowa by more than 10 points. So Indiana minus 6.5. They win this game by 20 plus. I don't know how this number is so small. It don't make no sense. Next game we're looking at, it is Battle of Kansas. It is Kansas versus Kansas State. I'm going to take Kansas State minus 10. Really don't understand how this line is not closer to minus 14. Kansas State playing great all-around football. They get to play at home. Stadium's going to be rocking. Definitely going to be all over the Wildcats in this one. Based on the stats, these teams are actually quite similar. They average 417 and then 437 yards a game on offense. Then on defense, they give up 374 and 359 yards per game. Now, despite similar stats, these teams are having completely different seasons. Kansas is ranked 2-5. Every single one of their games is close, but they lose. Kansas State is 6-1. Some of their games are close. Some of their games are monster blowouts, and they win a lot. So this one for me is more of a culture spot. Both teams are going to get up for this game. I don't think Kansas really cares about their record being 2-5. This is an in-state battle. They want to go into Kansas State, shut them down, walk out of there with the victory. But I don't think that's going to happen. Rivalry game, in-state. Kansas State's ranked. They're coming off of a big win. They need to win this game. Give me them -10. I think they murder Kansas. I don't think this game is close. I think it's 20 plus. Walk it to the bank. Cash that. Next game. Another one that's interesting, but I kind of understand the line based off of how these two teams played in the recent weeks. BYU coming off of a big comeback win against Oklahoma State. I think they're going to carry that energy into this game against UCF. Now, obviously, UCF come off of a very, very sad loss against Iowa State. Their dude, I forget if it was a pick six or just an offensive play. He was running to the end zone, and he did what at least one player does every single year in college football. They drop the ball right before they cross the goal line, so they don't actually score a touchdown. So UCF should have won this football game, but because that dude is an idiot, they did not. UCF does have the better ranked offense. It's 400, not 481st in the country. They average 481 yards a game, whereas BYU's strength is their defense, giving up only 340 yards a game. Thing to note in this game, UCF does have a new quarterback in. He doesn't really throw the ball. He is more of a running RPO type of quarterback that heavily favors the run. He's like Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson on a day where he cannot throw a football. So I'm going to take BYU in this one. Again, kind of a culture spot for me. If you're just giving me this based off of a lineup and how these teams have played this season, it has to be BYU. And basically, what's a money line bet? But I'm going to take him here -2. So give me the Mormons on the road in Florida. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? Give me the Mormons. Next game we got, it is SMU headed to Duke. I'm going to take the Blue Devils +11. Now, this game, very, very important for both of these teams. Basically, the season for both of these teams. A loss here takes them out of the playoff hopes realistically. Obviously, these teams being in the ACC, they're looking up towards Clemson as the top dog. So a two-loss team not going to be able to touch Clemson when it comes to playoff strength. So very, very, very important game for both of these teams. Duke only lost one game this entire season, obviously. That was to Georgia Tech just 3 weeks ago. They're coming off of a home win against Florida State in a very low-scoring game, ended 23-16. Obviously, Florida State, not that impressive of a win, seeing as though their team is horrible. They've started a freshman quarterback. Their coach has no idea what he's doing. But still, nonetheless, you beat Florida State at home. Good enough. Good enough. SMU only loss of the season was against BYU by 3 points at home. This is their third away game in a row. I will never understand how some teams get screwed over and have to play that many away games in a row. You would think it would make sense if college football said, hey, the most amount of away games you can play in a row is 2, because that would be reasonable, as these are college students getting a degree and not just paid idiots who have to go play away football games 3 weekends in a row. So a little bit unlucky here for SMU getting this important of a game as it being their third away game in a row, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess, here. Duke, they play a slow style of football. Duke is not going to drop 45 points on you in a game. It's just not something they're built for. Duke's games are normally all close, tight games, just like the previous Florida State game that ended 23-16. That is the style of football game Duke wants to be in. They want to beat you down, play you in a dogfight, get you tired by the fourth quarter, and then wear you out, win the game at the end. That is exactly the style of game SMU does not want to play. They're a high-powered, fast-tempo offense. They want to shoot you down the field and get your defense in and out of the field quick, score a bunch. So Duke, being at home, should be able to set the stage for this game, create the energy, play their style of football. So I'm going to take Duke +11 at home in a must-win spot. But I will take the points, not the money line. Money line's too juicy. Just give me the points, +11. That's all I need. Final game here for me. It is Illinois +21.5 at Oregon. This is another game that changed ever since I typed it in first. When I first typed it in, it was Illinois +22.5. So if you are going to get on this game, I recommend doing it quick as the public is on Illinois, which I agree with. I think that is the right side here. Still too many points against Oregon. This is another game where I think the spread is too big. We saw it against Purdue. Oregon has been calling off the dogs recently when they're up big in the second half. And the fact that Gabriel's still throwing too many interceptions against team he has no business throwing interceptions against. Then Illinois coming off a big 14-point home win against Michigan where they stormed the field. I'm not sure why you're storming the field in a game where you're ranked higher than your opponent, but I guess that's what they have to do in Illinois to get excited. Now, Oregon obviously has the better offense and defense, but Illinois' slow pace style should help them cover these games. In top tier teams they've played this year, they've given up 7 to Michigan, 21 to Penn State, 24 to Nebraska. Now, in their previous game, they gave up 49 points in an overtime victory to Purdue. But again, I think Illinois' whole thing is they get up massively for games that matter. If the game is important, they play slow, they keep it tight, they know what to do. If they play against a bottom tier Big Ten school or any other opponent, they don't give a shit. They really don't. They get up for these games, period, point blank, end of story. Oregon has only covered this number, the 21.5, twice this entire season, and that was against Purdue and Oregon State. I thought this game was going to be closer to plus 14, maybe a plus 17 number. So the fact that I'm getting plus 21.5, definitely something I will take. So give me Illinois and the points. All right, that is going to do it for me and this video. This is a part 1. There will be a part 2 posted on Monday night. So if you are excited for that, tune in, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Peace.